as we've been counting down, you've been following us. We did cover the last 3 Captain America movies leading up to Captain America Brave New World, which dropped on Thursday night for preview night, but officially on Friday. Doing pretty good at the box office as well. Jason going and looked out for a second. But to cover this, we will be bringing in PCP's own Tim. Tim, what's up, man?
I still say New World Order. Screw that. I like it better than Brave New World.
I don't know. It would have been a little too close to home with NWO. So I don't know. Whatever. I don't give a shit, to be honest. It didn't do anything for me one way or the other. But I thought the New World Order thing was funny, and we never would have stopped with like NWO jokes like throughout the entire time.
That would have been great.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, movies doing pretty good at the box office, right? Like they exceeded expectations. Just those smidge under 200 million at the worldwide box office, but you know how it goes. Like for financial stuff, we'll see how if it's got legs these next couple of weeks. Where they can, because I think I read that they have to do, is it 450 to 500 to break even with this movie? I think so. I think that's what I'd read, but I mean, well, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But overall, Rotten Tomatoes is around 50%, which I kind of could understand with the critics score, but the audience score was around 80%. Which, I don't know, that kind of checks out to me. I can kind of see that based on my opinions of this whole thing.
Yeah, this is an incredibly likable movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Like, Tim and I were chatting about it, Jason. We chatted about it, like, when we got out of the theater on Thursday night. Listen, my quick overall thoughts on this movie, I liked it. I've seen it twice now. I got to see it on IMAX 3D on Saturday. I saw it in regular format on Thursday night. I liked it just the same both times. I think it's an enjoyable movie. It's an MCU movie that does some stuff that MCU movies have been getting knocked for in phases 4 and 5, where one of the knocks have been that it doesn't feel connected to anything. Like these movies all kind of feel like they're on their own little island. But this movie is extremely grounded into the MCU to the point where like the criticism I'm seeing is that it's to a fault. Like,
yeah, it's the fact is the others were their own little island, and this one is all grounded on Celestial Island, and both are a problem.
Whoa. I'm just saying, like, is it a perfect movie? Is it a top tier MCU movie? In my opinion, no, it's not. But it's also, I don't know in the tiers where it falls. I know it's not a top tier MCU movie. And as much as I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed most of the MCU movies, there's only a couple that I don't really love over time. It doesn't have to be.
MCU movies are not top tier MCU movies. And the fact, you said this, Ed, the fact that if we're going to compare everything to Endgame and fucking Infinity War, then nothing's ever going to be good ever.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, you're right. If that's the bar that's been set, right? And it's almost just like, did the MCU kind of like damage itself by making Infinity War and Endgame so fucking good that now that's the standard? It's a little bit unfair, but also it's just such a weird movie to discuss though, because on one hand I feel like the movie's being overhated, but then on the other hand there are issues that this movie has. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think, in my opinion. But it's still not. I still wouldn't call it bad. I still enjoyed myself. I had a good time with it. It feels like an MCU movie. It furthers the MCU overall story. I think it finally heads in a direction, and it also like addresses stuff that happened previously in the MCU. So there, I mean that's kind of, it does check some boxes that you need it to be, but again, being like honest, yeah, there are some things, but I think there are mostly technical stuff I had issues with, like filmmaking type stuff as well. Like there's some clunky editing at times. The dialogue's a little weird at a couple of points. These bad green screen in a couple of shots that doesn't make any sense to me because there are things that look great about this, great in this movie, but then you randomly have these other shots in the same scene that doesn't work. And I'm referring to like the end when with the fight between Captain America and Red Hulk. There's a couple of random shots that stick out like a sore thumb, where it's like really awful green screen. I don't know. It's just that. Tim, what are you haven't spoke much. What do you got here on the overall stuff for this movie?
Yeah, same thing. You know, I heard going into this movie, I heard you know, the whining and the bitching, of course, and I'm like, oh well, now I sounded a little nervous, but I enjoyed this movie a lot. I did. I said, is it top 10? No. Is it bottom 10? No. It's very enjoyable. You can tell reshoots were done. You can tell, like you said, the green screen stuff. You know, I don't think sometimes these people are in the same room talking to each other. You can tell some of that shit happened. But overall, like you said, people are bitching, oh, they're ignoring the giant island that came up out of the ocean. Well, guess what? Here's your fucking giant island in the ocean. And it's a major, major plot point going forward now because of its adamantium. I mean, out of adamantium or whatever. So guess what? They did it. I'm happy with it. Like you said, the dialogue was a little clunky. Just like
At times.
How many times did Ross have to say, "Have you heard from Betty, my daughter? You know, my daughter."
Yeah, I agree.
And like he's saying who Betty was. You know, we hardcore fans know who Betty is. You don't got to keep saying my daughter or back and forth, but we get it. Some people might have forgotten about that whole thing. But overall, I liked it. I liked it a lot. So I don't know what people like to bitch about.
Yeah, well, I again I don't know. Well, before we get into the detail, Jason, you said you had what were your, I guess, your overall thoughts on it? You said you had a good time with it, but you had a couple of issues with a couple of things that were in it.
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. My critiques were this: I thought Harrison Ford was terrible. I know you guys are going to disagree with me. I don't care. He's fucking terrible. He's an old man going blah, 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 blah. And maybe it's just because I really enjoyed William Hurt, who did this role, and thought that William Hurt could have hit some of these emotional beats that he was supposed to hit, and Harrison Ford didn't, because Harrison Ford just grumbled like an old man. I didn't like him at all. That was my knock, though, and the writing, like Tim said, like, you know, my daughter. I agree with that. I did, however, really enjoy Mackey's performance. I really enjoyed Sidewinder. I wish he would have been more. The fucking leader was the perfect villain. And this felt like, I don't think it was as good, obviously, as Winter Soldier, but I felt it was like a spiritual successor in the sense that Winter Soldier dealt with, you know, the government conspiracy theory of KGB agents being brainwashed, and this was an extension of, okay, well, technological creatures, you know, technological aspects being brainwashing people and taking them over, and I thought that was cool, and I really liked it a lot. And Isaiah Bradley was fucking awesome in this. I love seeing him again.
Yeah, so all right, so let's get into like the character breakdown then of this thing. Anthony Mackie taking over now, Sam Wilson's taking over as Captain America now. We did see this arc play out through a lot of the films, starting with Captain America and Winter Soldier, which is when Sam Wilson was introduced, throughout Civil War, throughout both Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame. You know, mostly in Infinity War, because he was blipped for most of Endgame until he does have one of the best lines in the movie with "On Your Left" and that callback. But then he also got like a lot of time. He got his own series with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, leading up to this. He's clearly established as Captain America now in the MCU here. He's known. People have kind of, for the most part, you know, accepted him here as this. He still has some doubts throughout the film, which is fine. It's not to like an annoying point, but they do address the elephant in the room of Sam Wilson is not a super soldier. Doesn't have the serum. That gets addressed a couple of times. To a funny part when he's fighting Red Hulk at the end of the movie, and even says, you know, like, Bucky was full of shit. Like, I should have took the super soldier serum. and it would have helped him out there in that battle. Even though the super soldier serum didn't really help Blonsky too much, back in Incredible Hulk when he fucking punches him straight on and he goes reeling into that tree and gets turned into sauce essentially. So I'm not sure how much that would have helped Sam. But Mackey's performance in this and him being Captain America, I mean, I'm ready for him to lead the Avengers now, like going forward. I mean, was my takeaway of that was one of his main plot points. And this is that the idea of reforming the Avengers was thrown out there, but the terms of under which it happens is the whole back and forth with him and Ross throughout this. Tim, what did you think about Captain America in this movie?
Yeah, absolutely. Anthony Mackie, he nails it. Even though like Harrison said, you're not Steve Rogers. No, he's not Steve Rogers, and he's not going to be Steve Rogers. He's not going to even be Chris Evans. Chris Evans was perfect casting in my part. But Anthony Mackie, I think, is also perfect casting as far as this Captain America. He makes you feel the doubt that he's feeling. He makes you feel like everything he's going through. You feel that through this movie, and I really like that about it. And I am looking for. Even I had doubts of Anthony Mackie. Can he be the leader of the new Avengers? Can he possibly have the voice to be the leader of the new Avengers? I think now, absolutely, he can. So now I'm looking forward to see what more he can do.
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really enjoyed him. I also had my doubts. Like I've only seen him as Falcon. I thought Winter Soldier was good. I liked him as Falcon, but seeing him in the role, seeing him like carry this movie, he carries this movie. I don't think there's any two ways about it. Like whether you dislike the movie or not, you can't tell me that he's not doing a really good job as the leading man carrying this movie.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, like I said, I'm all in with him being the new leader of the Avengers and Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars that we have coming down. I'm curious to know if we're going to see him before then. Do we see him popping in post-credit scenes, kind of like recruiting this new Avengers team? Which I had an interesting conversation with Angie and Rick separately about who the Avengers will be in a year from now, because Avengers Doomsday comes out next year. So, I mean, we're going to have the Avengers sooner than it feels like. It always felt like those movies were so many years away, but it's only a year away for the first one. But Tim, I agree. He does a good job at being a leading man and carrying this movie. And yeah, I don't know. It's pretty good. And I do like the fact that they address the not super soldier serum, because those are some fans. I'm like, oh, he's not Captain America. He doesn't have a super soldier serum. But that's not why he is Captain America. And if you think that Captain America is just the super soldier serum, then you don't really understand Captain America in the least.
Yeah, and I love that. And we talked about this after the movie, Ed. Like Steve Rogers says, I trust people. Right? That's his thing. I believe in people. I don't believe in governments. I believe in people. Which, oh my God, Anthony Mackie said something similar and we hate him. But anyway, the whole thing is he trusted the fact that Falcon was going to be a good successor, not because he was a superpowered, but because of who he was. And the whole way he ends this movie is using his innate ability to empathize with people and talks the Red Hulk down. Like, that's why Captain America fucking chose him. It's never about the ability, because Captain America wasn't about the ability. Captain America was able to overcome the fact that he was a scrawny kid in the 40s and everyone hated scrawny kids in the 40s because of the super soldier serum. But what made Captain America great was not the serum and not his strength. It was his ability to surmise people and understand people, as shown at the end of fucking Winter Soldier, the end of Winter Soldier, when he essentially gets his fucking job done and says, all right, Bucky, kill me if you want to. I know you won't. Right? This is the whole point of Captain America, and this is his successor for that reason.
Yeah, Tim, you haven't been on with us the past few weeks, but like we went over this. When you watch Captain America: The First Avenger, when you watch Winter Soldier, when you watch Civil War, and even in the first Avengers movie, and throughout the Avengers movies as well. It's true. It's what Steve Rogers' real superpower is him going, like, he will go to the mat for the ideals of what he, the whole Captain America part is him believing in the ideals of what America, like, should be striving for, what it's supposed to be, like doing the right thing. It's not because of that. Even like that line in the Avengers where Tony's like, "Oh, everything special about you came out of a bottle." Mm-hmm. Like, it was a diss that was there, but that's not really true, man. Unless you really believe that, then that's where, like, those who are like doubting Sam Wilson being Captain America, I guess you really believe what Tony Stark said being the truth.
Oh, remember too, the doctor said it in the first one. He points to his heart. So
Yep.
The serum does not make you special. I didn't pick you because you were the biggest, the toughest, the baddest. I picked you because of your heart and what you believe in. And that's exactly the entire character.
Exactly.
Now, can Sam Wilson lift Mjolnir? Probably not yet. But he could be on his way there if he keeps up the way he does what he does.
Yeah. And even him doubting himself, the conversation he has, and again, we're talking spoilers here, so if you didn't see the movie, then come back and check us out another time. He has this conversation with Bucky in the movie, who's reaffirming, because even Sam says that Steve made the wrong choice because he can't protect everybody. And he even says, Steve had the super soldier serum and he couldn't protect everybody around him either. Like reaffirming, he chose you because you're you. And for those asking for Bucky to be Captain America, Sam, great point. But whoever's Captain America should be able to pick up Mjolnir, essentially. Bucky, due to his past, not picking up Mjolnir. Well, as much as I love Bucky.
Murdered too many people.
A couple of murders here and there.
Too much red in that ledger.
Exactly.
I do ask a question here now that you brought this up. We know that an elevator can lift Mjolnir. Can Bucky's metallic arm lift Mjolnir, and does that count? Because the arm
it was an accomplice in murder too many times now.
All right, what if he gets it replaced?
It's true. Fresh wait, arm. he does have the Wakandan metal arm now, so maybe. Yeah. It's a possibility.
So is the metric that he can lift it with the metal arm, but if he can't lift it with the real arm, he's not Captain America? I'm just trying to get this all sussed out for legal reasons.
That's what it is. He has to be able to pick it up with the blood and flesh arm. And the elevator wouldn't move, by the way. The elevator would sink. Even though you pressed up, it would sink.
It depends. If the elevator ever fucked you up, if it ever made someone late,
yes, the elevator broke down at some point.
The elevator would be judged.
Exactly. The other, I would say, co-main lead in this movie is Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross. Jason, whatever you think of like his performance or may not, there is a lot of his story that's picked up that's gone throughout a lot of these movies because there's a lot of references made to the incident in Harlem and him being,
Agreed.
chasing down the Hulk and everything like that throughout the years. It's picked up there. And then also his relationship with Samuel Stearns post what happened in Harlem. So there's a lot of references to the Incredible Hulk, which was 2008. I can't believe how fucking long ago that was. This is a fairly old movie at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
But yeah, he has a story arc throughout this movie of him trying to find redemption. He's trying to find redemption in the eyes of his daughter, which we had mentioned. He reminds the audience many times that Betty is his daughter. Many, many times.
Betty, my daughter Betty.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think he has an interesting arc throughout this because we find out that Thunderbolt Ross also did some shitty things to Samuel Stearns post what happened in Harlem. Seeing that he had gamma radiation that was leaking onto him, instead of pulling it out, he fucking upped the dose. Once he got smart enough, he used him as his strategist and fucking leaned into it, which leads into why Samuel Stearns wants his fucking revenge on Thunderbolt Ross, and that's basically the driving force behind a lot of this movie. Tim, as the as the Red Hulk guy, since you've been waiting a very, very long time to see the character on screen, you can start us off on this. What were your thoughts on the Thunderbolt on Harrison Ford and Thunderbolt Ross?
Well, I don't disagree with Jason. I did like him in this movie. I did like him because he didn't come across as angry Harrison Ford that you see on the talk shows, like grumpy Harrison Ford. To me, he did come off as Thunderbolt. Of course, he's not William Hurt. William Hurt was probably better. He's better than Sam Elliott. That was just a horrible movie anyway, but he was better than Sam Elliott, and I will say that.
I can't believe I've lived to hear Tim say someone is better than Sam Elliott.
That movie was just so hard to take in. But William Hurt had that quiet, cool, fucking sinister evilness to him that you just couldn't really shake, and he was so good at being a prick.
Mm-hmm.
Harrison Ford's a little more he's a little more grumpy old man. I get that, but I didn't. I wasn't really watching Harrison Ford to me. I was watching Thunderbolt Ross. Just he had to shave his mustache because it didn't. Because presidents don't have mustaches. And yeah, sure. Betty's his daughter. Betty's his daughter. Daughter's my Betty. Blah blah blah. I get it, but I did enjoy him, and I did like his little. That's really the character though, because it shows you what a prick this character is. I've changed. It took him literally 3 minutes to fucking go back to being the old Ross. That's the one thing was like. Never changed. I'm a brand new guy. No, you're not, you asshole. It took you seconds to go back to being a prick, and you find out that he's really, really a prick. Like I said, I like the fact that they took Samuel Stearns like that, and he didn't just flee at the end of Hulk and ran off and did his thing. That he's actually been stuck in a room since the Incredible Hulk, forced to do his bidding, forced to get the presidency for Thunderbolt Ross. Forced to make weapons, forced to do this. I love that. I love the way they did that. And yeah, of course, you want to talk Red Hulk separately, or you want to just
No. Going with Red Hulk too. Same thing.
I love the Red Hulk. I did. I mean, we don't get a lot of them. Spoiler alert, but I loved it because it was old school Hulk. No smartness, no fucking wise ass Hulk, no talking bullshit. Just a pissed off, angry Hulk, and I absolutely liked it. Maybe the ending, the whole "hey big guy" thing, wasn't my favorite part of the movie. But what else are you gonna do? Other short than bringing in Hulk, which I was hoping they actually would do for a split second. I thought that was gonna happen. Anything short of him, you gotta have a strategy, because this was the thing that pissed me off about the online people bitching that Sam Wilson went toe to toe with the Hulk and lived because he doesn't have the serum. He doesn't have the serum. Well, guess what, asshole? He does have a vibranium shield and fucking vibranium wings. No, he has the wings from the Wakandans. He has the shield. He can go toe to toe with the Hulk as long as he doesn't take a direct hit, which he did not. But technically, the Hulk did beat the living shit out of him. But he had to have a strategy, and that's how he survived.
Well, that's what Jason had mentioned too. Is that the way that Sam Wilson can't overpower him, right? Shield, Wakandan wings that can withdraw. I did like the fact that Sam Wilson's wings took on that power absorbing thing, and they made sure they emphasized that, and he redirects it. That was incredibly important. The shield obviously doesn't do that, but whatever, and that's fine. Yeah, he can't take down the Red Hulk toe to toe. He had to use what Sam Wilson's ability is. They do mention that Sam Wilson does counseling. He does that thing, and he basically found a way to talk him down and was able to get out of it. I am shocked that there was not the joke that he did not try to tell him about the sun's getting real low.
Yeah, I was waiting for that too.
Well, how is that not? That's a missed opportunity. I'm not holding it against the movie, but come on. How did we not get that there?
That one little second where it's like, "Hey, big guy," and the Red Hulk goes, "Huh?" Like a what?
Yeah.
What you call me? And throws a car at him or something.
Exactly, some shit like that.
But yeah, the people that were bitching about that, I'm like, dude, he didn't take a shot from the Hulk. If the Hulk would have punched him in the face, he'd be dead.
Yes.
Sam did what he had to do. He used the wings. He used the shield. He ran like hell. Did what he had to do. That's what I'm saying. Stop bitching, man. I thought it was a great fight, a great way to end it. And again, I wasn't really a fan of the hey big guy, cherry blossom daughter, Betty your daughter thing. But hey,
I don't know what other way to talk him down though. Like
exactly, there was no other way unless you're calling in the Hulk, the Green Hulk, and any other superhero in the area. It's not going to happen. So you got to live with it. Overall, I enjoyed Harrison Ford. I enjoyed the Red Hulk. Like I said, I thought it was funny how he went from I changed to nope in a matter of minutes. It's like, no, you didn't, idiot. You did not change. You actually orchestrated an entire war basically just because of your greed and your all this, and now he's in the goddamn raft. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, the one thing I will say with the whole Red Hulk thing is I enjoyed Harrison Ford's portrayal of Thunderbolt Ross. I thought he did a nice job subbing in for William Hurt. I liked his performance. The Red Hulk stuff, I think he looks great. One thing that I will see what happens in the future, though, because I don't think this is the last we're going to see of the Red Hulk by any stretch of the imagination. But the Red Hulk, though, usually isn't Rage Monster who's screaming. He's actually like, he's the one who's actually, Ross is able to keep his mind as the Red Hulk. So I'll just say it was the initial version wasn't, and they can kind of get back to that. And Tim, I do agree, and Jason, I think I mentioned this previously here. I thought for sure we were going to get at least a Banner cameo in this movie, if not a Hulk cameo at some point, or at least a She-Hulk cameo at some point. Like, there are 2 other Hulks, 3 actually, that are in the MCU running around right now, and no one sees this Red Hulk on TV and decides to jump in at any point. Not for the fight, because that would have taken away from the movie. This is Sam Wilson's movie. But I just thought a post-credit scene or something like that. Anything? No?
I would have loved the post-credit scene of Abomination, Tim Roth, going to the raft going, okay, big guy, let me teach you how to control your rage.
Yeah, something like that, right?
That's what he did on She-Hulk.
Yeah, exactly. Or it could have been a nice way to, having a She-Hulk cameo in some way could have been a nice way to transition her from Disney Plus to the movies, right? Like, to weave her in or something like that. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not saying for the final fight because that had to be Sam Wilson versus the Red Hulk. Otherwise, it kind of takes away from it, the whole thing.
I would have liked to have seen Banner.
Yeah.
Up the raft and say, hey.
Something like that, right?
After all these years, the tables have turned.
Uh-huh.
You know how I feel now. But I can help you control this. I can help you. And maybe he's the one that gets Ross to be in control of Red Hulk. Because Red Hulk, basically is just Ross normally as a giant red guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Just normal, like the way Smart Hulk was. It's the same thing. Maybe he teaches him how to do it. And, it's kind of like almost like an ending to that. But I still think we're going to have to get a Red Hulk versus Green Hulk fight somewhere down the line. But maybe not yet.
I mean, I want Raging Green Hulk back.
Oh my God.
I do. In the worst way, I kind of want Raging Green Hulk
back.
That's
the same. I loved Red Hulk so much because we got that.
Yeah, exactly. Which it would be nice if that Banner kind of helps, or even if She-Hulk's the one of the 2 helps, or even Abomination, any of those guys shows Ross eventually how to direct the Hulk and kind of like control him. But then Banner goes back to losing control of the Hulk. That would kind of like course correct certain things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I think. And we could also talk about the leader, another setup MCU character from way back in 2008, who was finally paid off now. I like the look that they chose to go with instead of the dude with the little mustache and the big head, and I just thought that would have not played in live action pretty well. Jason, what did you think of the look of the leader that we got?
Oh, I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it. I agree with you. Like we were working with an actor specifically who was cast before. That actor, I do not think would have looked good with the pencil mustache and the fucking big head.
Yeah.
Instead, what they gave us was no pencil mustache, thankfully. And instead of a big head, they gave us that the brain grew so much that it grew outside of the skull. And I really liked that. I thought it was a good take. I love this character. I think the leader is I know, or anyone who listens to the show knows that I am a big fan of cerebral villains. No pun intended, because he's all cerebral. Maybe there was a pun intended there, but this is one of my favorite MCU villains at this point, because it's all about the intelligence. And I know you said the look, but I went into the whole thing. So
No, that's fine.
The look was great.
No, you can go ahead and expand.
Yeah, but also like his whole plan, everything is a chess game. He's playing a chess game, which he should win because he's cheated, because he's so smart. And the only reason he doesn't is because he can't predict Sam Wilson, which I think is cool. I think it's a very interesting villain. And we're talking about Sam Wilson, who doesn't have Captain America's powers, going against a villain who is, the reason he can't predict Sam Wilson is because of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Captain America gave him the shield. And so I actually love the leader in this so much. I think he's my favorite part of this.
I liked a lot that had a lot to do with it. Sam Wilson being the unpredictable variable that he can't seem to nail down with something. I jump into the post-credit scene. Right. So, by the way, that'll say that's one of the terrible green screen scenes that we get. It looks pretty bad. I just call it what it is, but just to take out the essence of it. I've seen some people complaining, it's not really important moving forward. I mean, he's obviously talking about fucking Secret Wars. He's telling you a multiversal war is coming. That's not important. Like, we don't know Avengers Secret Wars is coming. Like, what are we talking about here? How he knows about it is what I really want to know about. Like, how does he know this? Besides his calculations, and there's a probable percentage that a multiversal war is going to break out. That part, that's not what I want. There's got to be something else to it, though. No?
I'll take it. Whatever. I'll allow it.
You're okay with him just coming up with a breakdown, a calculation that the odds are a multiversal war is coming?
Well, I mean, I don't think he knows exactly what's coming. He didn't really say exactly. He just says something, and you ain't prepared for what it is. According to my calculations, you ain't ready for what's coming. Doesn't really get into the whole specific details, but yeah, I can see how it's a little too much. But maybe with everything going on with, maybe he knows shit about Kang and the multiverses and all that kind of stuff. Maybe he's aware of what happened.
No, I agree with you. I do think that they're going to pay off something with it. I think you can't just leave it at this and that's it. I think it is a cool tease, but yeah, I think there will be a scene in the raft, maybe when they're going to get Ross out of there, right? Like they need the Red Hulk, they need some more firepower, right? And that there is a conversation with Samuel Stearns, because obviously he told this to Sam Wilson. So the new leader of the Avengers is well aware that somebody just told him something that's pretty fucking haunting, that he would need to get more information out of him and maybe use him. He's going to play a role, I think, moving forward.
Maybe.
Jason?
I mean, I got to see how it plays out. Like, if the next time we revisit this, it's just, I saw it because of calculations. Nah, I don't think I'd be okay with it. Because that rings like Lex Luthor in the end of BVS, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. All hail, let's get everyone together. Wonder Woman's here too. It's a party. Because that's how that ends. No, I wouldn't be okay with it. But I do think that there is a way to pay this off that feels fulfilling. And I'm okay to see where it's going, because this is a post-credit scene. Post-credit scene, I see something coming that could be anything. I don't know, maybe Galactus is going to take a shit. Who knows, right? He sees something coming in the multiverse. That could be anything. But when we get to the point where it's paying off, if they can make this make sense, I'm okay with it. If they can't, then I'll be the first to make fun of it.
Yeah, I would definitely have some jokes on this, but I have a feeling that they're not going to be so haphazardly with their post-credit scenes moving forward because there's
I
still
agree.
plenty to tie up now. And I kind of feel like trusting Kevin Feige, now that he's got his full power back, he will start tying up some of these things, to go forward. So there's the other villain we get
under a lot of pressure. They're also under a lot of pressure to make the next, thing that really gets the audiences going because, since Endgame, everyone's always been like, how come it's not Endgame? And we all admit it can't always be Endgame, but we also admit that there's been some missteps too. So I think like Kevin Feige and MCU is really ramping up to something that they want to be game changing in the point where it brings us back to form, into excitement for something like Endgame, but post Endgame. And so, yes, I agree that they are working toward that, and that's why I'm like, okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
By the way, how great was the Trigger song?
Yeah, that's what we opened with tonight.
Mr.
Blue. Yeah.
Great.
Nice callback to Incredible Hulk when he was
Yeah.
I was his IM name with
like
Mr.
that a lot.
Mr. Blue. Yeah, me too. The other villain we get in this movie is Sidewinder, who Giancarlo Esposito, who was kind of added in. When I understand, he was added in the reshoot process here, which is fine. I liked him. I wanted to see more of him, and kudos to Giancarlo Esposito, by the way, for looking like a badass that can handle himself physically, for kind of like an older guy. I liked him, and when Sam locks him up, and he spills the beans on the leader, he tells him straight out, dude, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to fucking kill you. Like, the only thing missing, I would say, and I'm guessing this is on the cutting room floor, though, what is his beef with Sam Wilson? We don't really get that in this movie at any point in the situation. We know clearly he really wants to kill Sam Wilson, but I don't think it's like a Craven thing where he just wants a challenge. There's got to be more to it, I think. That was one thing that was kind of irked me upon in the rewatch.
Maybe he was friends with Crossbones back in the day. Or together.
Fine. I would accept that. No problem. But my point is it's never addressed, but it's alluded to in the film. It's alluded to on multiple occasions, but never really divulged.
I was looking forward to seeing the rest of the Serpent Society because
yes,
wrestling fans know that Seth Rollins was set to play one of the Serpent Society. He got cut, like most of them did, for the reshoots, which is fine. But yeah, I mean, come on, how fucking great is Giancarlo Esposito? That dude is the definition of sinister. He really, really is. And the Mandalorian, in this, and obviously Breaking Bad for the Breaking Bad people, that dude is just on point as a fucking villain. I don't ever want to see that dude play a good guy, unless he's like an anti-hero. I don't him play a good guy. He is such a great heel. It's not even funny. But yeah, he was absolutely fantastic in this movie.
He's 66 years old.
I know.
That's crazy.
Is he really?
He's 66 years old.
Holy
Dude,
shit.
he was in jail with Eddie Murphy in Trading Places. That's how you know how old he was.
It's true.
Wait, he was in Trading Places?
He was one of the guys in the jail cell with Eddie Murphy.
Oh.
Holy shit. Now I got to rewatch that movie right now, as soon as we're done.
I'm going to be honest. I clocked that when I had seen it over the Christmas time. I ran into Trading Places and I caught myself watching it. And I was like, holy shit, look who it is.
That's a great movie, but I haven't seen it in a long time. I got to rewatch it now.
Yeah. Jason, but you agree though, right? Like I think we kind of all agree. We wanted more Sidewinder.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, as Tim said, everything he said, I agree with. I wanted more of him, but as you said, he was this role was written in after the rewrites, so fair enough. I'll be okay with this if the next Captain America movie has him as the villain and the Serpent Society is a villain. Like if this was the prelude to the Serpent Society and him as the big villain, I'm okay. If this is all I get from him in the MCU, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, because I feel like Captain America moving forward, and again, that's also why I'm invested in the financial aspect of this film doing well, because I want to see more Captain America movies. Like, I don't want this to be the end of Sam Wilson, Captain America, in his own films, right?
No, I don't think it will be.
Well, I'm just saying, fine. Well, we know the bottom line that will decide that. his movie, if this movie turns out to be profitable, then they will move forward. If it doesn't,
but it's made money at this point, right? Like it's
it has, but they have to make X amount to kind of like.
Oh,
they've had a good start.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can't have like a $10 million.
Right.
We can't have like a $10 million, second weekend. Then you're in major trouble. So we also get a new Falcon in this movie. We get Joaquin Torres taking over, who we met in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I like the kid. I thought he was pretty cool in this. He had some awkward humor at times, but I thought that was kind of intentional. But his relationship with Sam Wilson, I thought was nice. I thought it was pretty cool. The ending scene I thought went on a little too long, which is one of my editing issues with this movie. Like I think it kind of kept going and going and going, and it kind of felt like should have been cut a little bit, just like a tighter thing.
And you're okay. And you're okay. And you're okay. Everyone's okay. 20 minutes later, we're still okay. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. But I liked him. I thought it was pretty cool. Him and Sam having that battle on Celestial Island, I thought was probably one of the best scenes in the movie, and it looked great too. When they're going, when he gets shot down eventually, but they're going, they're flying together and taking out a bunch of shit and everything like that. But overall, his character, I enjoyed. I know there was some people who were kind of annoyed by him and found him annoying, but I don't know. I enjoyed him. I thought he was cool. It was a nice touch.
I liked him too. He needed a little bit of that comic relief in there, so to ease things a little bit. That's basically what he was there for.
Yeah.
But he's a great character. He's going to be a great Falcon, so I dug him.
Yeah. Jason?
Yeah, I liked him. I thought that I can see why if he was used more, he would get annoying. I think like his personality, the way it sits here, I think they used him perfectly. So I don't think he was annoying, but I think like if he was giving more screen time with that character, it would be annoying. But I did like what we got from him. Mm-hmm. And I thought he was a good foil. I thought he was a good foil for Anthony Mackie as, Captain America. Like, kind of Falcon. Anthony Mackie was a good foil for Captain America. So yeah, I thought it worked out well.
Yeah. And I do think arguably the strongest performance of the movie I thought was Isaiah Bradley.
Yes, I agree.
He was really good. That was Carl Lumley, who plays Isaiah Bradley in this film, who we had met also in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Which is like, I feel like this movie gives you enough to go off of if you did not see Falcon and Winter Soldier. But if you did see Falcon and Winter Soldier, which the three of us did, you got a lot more because you weren't just meeting these characters for the first time, and you saw kind of like what they went through, and the choice to kind of make him somewhat of briefly a Winter Soldier, I thought was pretty cool. Like seeing him kick ass and everything like that, and how strong he was and stuff, and the fact that he trains Sam Wilson now, even though he's got the super soldier serum, I thought was cool, and his story arc there. There wasn't much added to it, but it was, except for I guess, well, no, his story arc is still what it is. He's the forgotten Captain America. He was imprisoned, by the U.S. government for years and experimented on and shit like that, and for kind of like no really good reason besides the government wanting to create super soldier serum again, like to keep the whole thing going. But yeah, I thought his scenes were pretty impactful though, with what he had with Anthony Mackie, and also, not wanting to die in prison. Like when he delivers that whole line and everything like that, I thought that was pretty heartfelt.
I thought he said, "I'm not going back in." I was like, "Oh shit, this dude's busting out of here," because he said, "I ain't going back in the box."
Yeah,
that's what I was waiting for. Him to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, which Sabra says that when she talks about his motivation, she's like, he had all the motivation in the world to want to kill Ross and to be pissed off at the government. Like, no shit.
Yes. And I love just the characterization they give to him because at points it was funny. Like, oh, suit up. Oh, yeah, I got married in this suit. That was funny. Or when he leaves, like, where's my suit? Like I like that he was a character who was very serious and very pivotal to the story, and a huge emotional anchor for Falcon, Captain America, actually, but also very funny and very serious. Like they gave that guy a lot to do, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah. And speaking of Sabra, she's the agent that Thunderbolt Ross basically has as his right hand person here. She's also played by Shira Haas here. Her acting performance I thought was fine. I just thought she was a little too small for the role, and so I was like physically imposing. I kind of would have went with someone who was a little bit bigger. Not that like Scarlett Johansson is huge as Black Widow. We've seen her do that, but I don't know. I think she's like 5'2" or something like that.
Yeah, she's tiny.
Yeah, she was really small. Especially there's a couple of shots where she's walking next to Sam Wilson, who we know is not the biggest guy in the world either. And next to, Joaquin Torres here. I mean, her acting was good. That wasn't the issue. It was just the physically opposing part for a former Black Widow was the only thing that I kind of was wrestling with. And that was more upon a second watch. I know our friend Joe had brought it up to me and Jason. We were discussing the movie after the first time we saw it. The second time around, I don't know, it irked me a little bit, but it wasn't enough to like kill it or anything like that.
I wasn't really too thrilled with the Widow part of the thing, but I get why you had to have it, I guess. Ross needed somebody. Like, Ross wouldn't have anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't have just regular security. That's what I'm saying.
No,
He'd have to have
exactly.
special, so it kind of makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, he needs a killing machine, essentially,
Yeah.
or someone who could be.
So, I
was okay with it because it was the Widow program, and she kind of reminded me like of I think I called her this when we were talking about it. She's like a young Dr. Ruth.
Yes.
Because I mean, Dr. Ruth was a known sharpshooter. She did serve in the Israeli military before she came over here, and also very diminutive. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of what they were doing, like a nod to that. I mean, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Maybe I'm just so old I know who Dr. Ruth is, but again, because of the Widow training, I'm like, I think anyone with the Widow training,
just
regardless of stature, could kick ass. Like I think if you put my 5-year-old in there, he would, be scarred for life, but could kill you in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was totally impossible. Again, I just would have wanted someone who was just a little bit more physically imposing is all. That's why. But you're right. For the sake of the film, you're right. If you went through the Black Widow, if you were in the Red Room and you got Black Widow training, then you can probably fuck a lot of people up.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And I guess is there any scenes or anything we want to discuss or anything with it? Anyone want to bring anything up or highlight any specific scenes outside of characters?
The only two, like the bad scenes were, I forget. I had two of them, but I forget what one of them was. But one of them was when they come out of the Stearns' base. What the hell was it called? Echo One. What the hell it was fucking called? I forget what it was called.
The military base that he was in.
And the soldiers get activated and they're getting ready to shoot. It was one of those like barely an inconvenience. Hey, let's jump in this car and go. Okay, let's go. And they got in the car and just drove away. What just happened? I was like, where they were. There's no way it should have been that easy. They just hopped in the car and drove away, considering how close everybody was. I'm like, that's a reshoot problem right there. That's just, I'm like, well, we can't have this scene be too long, so they're just going to hop in the car and drive away. Like, that was a little weird.
Yeah, my more standout ones were, again, just talking about the bad shots. There was a couple of shots in the final battle with the Red Hulk that were terrible green screen, especially since it was like daylight and it was bright colored, and you saw that. The post-credit scene has a bad shot. There's a couple of fight scenes early in the movie that felt like the choreography was a little bit weird. It just didn't seem like it was the smoothest fight scenes at all. I don't know. It's just, there was something off. And the thing was, like, you know what it is? There is a couple of, and again, this was noticeable on the rewatch now, is the scene in the beginning when Sam is fighting that group of people and he's kicking ass with the shield and everything like that. There's a couple of shots where they go with like far away shots for some fucking weird reason, and it kind of like takes you out of the scene for a second. And I'm just like, why would you do that? And to me, that's like, oh, reshoot shot, reshoot shot, reshoot shot. And that's what I'm saying. It's mostly technical shit that was getting on my nerves. But on the same hand, though, the fight on Celestial Island was awesome. I had zero problems with it. It looked great. Choreography was great. Battle, the shit that Sam's doing, slicing through wings of jets and everything like that. Everything looked phenomenal. Most of the fight scene with Red Hulk will look great outside of those random couple of shots. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's some questionable CGI stuff, but again, not enough to ruin it. But there's some really the action in this movie. I think is really good for the most part.
Well, don't forget, I heard that Stearns was all reshoot.
They changed his look completely
because he had the head, and they were like, the head's not working.
Yeah, exactly.
Even their Funko Pop had the head.
Yep. And he had the mustache too.
That's why all his shots look like he's not in the same room with everybody else. No. Like he went back in and shot them by himself while everyone else was home doing whatever they were doing. That's why a couple of those shots look like that.
Yeah, and I just don't get is that Marvel Studios, like you guys got a lot. Like, how does this happen? How does the movie get released like this and you didn't clean this up? That's my frustrating thing. Like, those are some of the things that held this movie down from like being great to like, being honest about it. Like these are the issues. I don't even want to call them nitpicks. I mean, they are issues. I mean, it's there.
They're issues.
Yeah, you finished the movie. You gave me this movie, so I'm going to just call it what it is. Jason, any kind of scenes or things you want to highlight?
Yeah, I want to highlight I love that there was a dogfight, like action scene in this. You don't get that much anymore. That's a very World War I thing with, fucking planes fighting planes. We don't really get that after World War I. But we literally get a fucking dogfight scene with both Falcons, and I want to highlight that. That's awesome, and it's not something that we have ever seen in the MCU before. Yeah. Before that, we haven't seen it in cinema in fucking 100 years now. So I like that a lot. I like the leader a lot. I do, and I didn't even notice that he wasn't in the same room the whole time as other people because I think that actor is so fucking good, and. He's chilling. Like there's that moment where the person that Sam Wilson asks to look into what these pills do, but you can't tell anyone. Bang, you're dead. Like there was something so like really interesting about his character. Like he's and can we really say he's the villain? Like, knowing what he went through, he's kind of the anti-hero here. Like, is he doing the right thing for the protagonist, Sam Wilson? No. Is he wrong in what he's doing based on what happened to him? No. And
he thought that refers to himself as the hero. He refers to himself as the hero in the third act, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the hero. And I don't know, can we argue that he's not? Except that this movie is called Captain America and not called a leader because this guy's been fucking stuck in a military camp and used, and he agreed to it and made a deal, and the deal wasn't even like, it's not even like he got pissed that he was used. He got pissed that he was used and said, I'll help you do anything you want. And when I give you everything you want, you free me. Like I'm the fucking genie in a bottle. Your third wish is to free me. And Ross went, go fuck yourself. I mean, is he really the bad guy?
And don't forget, he turns himself in, knowing.
He does.
Not really believing that he is the hero, but knowing, listen, I might be like extremely super smart, but I'm not that villain that's going to run out and build a lair and be this and be this villain running. No. I'm a regular dude. I'm a scientist first. I did what I believe was right. but I know I'm not going to go on the run and stay away from all these people. Fucking turns himself in.
Yeah.
Hero. It is. It's
Exactly.
a hero thing.
No, that's a fair point there. And I guess one of the things I thought we were getting more Liv Tyler. I thought we were getting more Betty Ross in this movie, but we really just a very brief scene. I mean, she's in the movie for less than a minute.
Betty, his daughter?
Exactly. Betty, I heard that was Ross's daughter. I'm not so sure, but I think she just might be.
Wait, his daughter Betty or Betty his daughter? I'm not sure.
I think his daughter Betty.
Betty his daughter.
Oh, Betty his daughter. Oh no, you're right.
I'll go with
Betty, right.
I'll go with the defense. Fine.
Yeah, some of the dialogue, by the way, was also just like there was a lot of expositionary dialogue that I think it was completely unnecessary. That's how I'll just knock some of the writing throughout the movie.
Ed, the host. How could you say that, Ed, the host?
Well, Jason, the host, I'm gonna just have to say I have an inkling on this. I'm not really sure. It's a weird thing.
I guess you have to have a little bit, considering the movie's they said 2008. People might not remember that movie. And they're like, Betty, the daughter. But you say it once.
Yeah, well, listen,
dude, say it once.
Yeah, come on, Top Gun Maverick didn't have to do that kind of shit, and they were like way past the original movie.
But the way he did it the first time was because he said, "Has my daughter Betty called yet?" You don't need that. So you say like, "Has Betty called?" No, she hasn't called. Then he can just say after that, "Well, I haven't talked to my daughter in 15 years." Boom, you got it. That's it. You got it.
Exactly.
You don't have to, exactly. Yeah, you don't have to keep saying, "Did my daughter Betty call?" Betty, my daughter. No, you don't have to keep doing it over and over again.
It's all right. Anything else?
Almost as if the script could have been written better.
Just a little bit. Even though the director is shit, by the way, he also came out and smacked down the reports that there were multiple rounds of reshoots. He said there were only one round of reshoots, and it was the same one as every MCU movie gets. Just
it's
like
normal for the MCU.
Exactly. Right? They plan it ahead of time. They have it built in. So they were like...
That's a lie because they cut the entire Serpent Society out.
No, well, that was cutting things that were already shot. I'm just saying, I don't know if they went out and reshot everything. Like, the way they made it sound, the reports were, oh, we did a test screening. Cut, reshoots. Test screening. Cut, reshoots. They're just basically saying that was a little bit overblown. There was a lot of things that were cut from it. Not saying that I want the Snyder cut of Captain America Brave New World again. We're not going down that road again. We've been down that road one too many times with another studio. Too many times. But again, that's what's being said here. I just still want to know how the finished product was released with these details that were so painfully obvious that stuck out like sore thumbs to it. I just don't know how that is possible.
Nowadays, the nerds, man, they find everything.
It's weird.
You can't hide it.
No, but Tim, we saw the movie. It's plain as day to anyone who's watching the movie. It's just like it smacks you in the face with some of the bad green screen and shit like that. So, I will say, IMAX 3D recommended for this movie, even though the bad stuff will stand out much more to you, but the good shit is worth it. There is a lot of cool shit that you get to see with it. Also, before IMAX 3D, you get that countdown for IMAX. It's counted down as the Fantastic Four.
Nice.
They have ramped up the marketing for Fantastic Four First Steps like full blast. It's already there. We're in fucking February. This movie doesn't come out until July. The trailer was before it, along with the new Thunderbolts trailer, and it was all over it.
Thank you.
They're feeling pretty good about Fantastic Four.
Are they skipping Thunderbolts, though, going straight to Fantastic Four?
I'm just saying, like, they're ramping it up. My thing is, it's telling me that Marvel Studios really believes a lot in Fantastic Four.
Good.
You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's screaming confidence that they got in this thing. They know how much is riding on the Fantastic Four, because there's a lot riding on it. Plus, it's all the officially third version of the Fantastic Four, but for some of us, it's the fourth version of the Fantastic Four. Those who have found the other one.